Okay, this is for the go-getters and the barn burners out there. We're going to be talking a new language, even though we're still speaking English. We're going to say things a bunch of different ways, so don't worry if it's unfamiliar at first. Winner, loser, angel, asshole. Here we have the loser, asshole. That's a double negative. That's the smallest kind of person. Here we have the angel, loser. They suffer while benefiting others. They build on top of the loser, asshole. The next level up is the winner, asshole. They benefit while making someone else suffer. Next up is the lone ranger or the gangster, the one who's at the middle, who is at the 0 point. That we can call the lone ranger or the gangster or the independent, because 1, 2, and 3 are not free, whereas the middle position is free. We go from dependent to independent to dependable. The last one is the dependable one, the biggest position to hold. This is the angel winner, the rock star who creates win-wins in their life. Okay? So we have the winner, loser, angel, asshole. We call this the phi. This is the beta, the alpha, the omega, excuse me, the sigma and the omega. We call this the heart of glass because it breaks and makes people have to walk on eggshells. This is the heart of paper. The paper wraps up the glass, the shards of glass, but it's weak. This is the heart of fire. Those are flames. The heart of fire burns up the paper. This is the heart of stone or ice, being cold-hearted, whereas these three are very passionate, right? There's passion in sadness, passion in fear, passion in anger. But they're all high-pressure states, so they all move us towards the low-pressure state of peace. And when we have respite there, when we've felt enough independence and peace and freedom, then we're more available for other people. And so we have the heart of glass, the heart of paper, the heart of fire, the heart of stone. Also, when we get stoned, when we have to do drugs or alcohol, why? Because it makes us feel free. Because it gets us away from our sadness, our fear, and our anger, makes us feel free, but we're feeling actually emotionally sober when we're chemically intoxicated, and our goal now is to become emotionally sober while also physically sober. This is now the heart of gold. So this is human alchemy. Go from glass to paper to fire to stone or ice to gold. So it's actually not a bad thing to be cold-hearted or to have our heart of stone, because it's immovable, whereas the fire, the glass, and the paper are movable or conditional. They all say, I'll be okay if. That's the conditional. But the one who's in peace says, I'm okay. I'm okay even if. That's unconditional. See, that's unconditional and that's free. Whereas if you're conditional, then you're trapped. Okay? This is a life or death issue. We want to go from being a slave, whether the first kind of slave, the second kind of slave, or the third kind of slave, to being free, to ultimately being a master. So we're talking about progressive mastery, going from being a loser, going from being an asshole, to eventually being a winner and an angel. Now let's take another look at this. We're moving from being dependent to independent to dependable. But in what domains of life? The physical, emotional, mental, financial, social, and moral. You ever heard someone say, they gave me moral support? You can only get moral support from someone who's morally dependable. How about if you get financial support? You can only get financial support from someone who is financially dependable. How about social support? How about you want someone to introduce you? You're new in town, you want someone to introduce you to people. Well, they have to be socially dependable. How about you want someone to teach you something? They have to be mentally dependable. Maybe you want to learn emotional intelligence. You want to get the influence from someone who's emotionally dependable. And what if you need someone to wipe your ass, you're old and you're crippled, and you need someone who's physically dependable. Okay? Now, what's interesting to notice, again, is that we're not traveling from dependent to independent and then independent to dependable. We're actually growing from being financially dependent to financially independent to financially dependable. We're becoming a bigger person. So we're actually expanding outwards because each of us has, or more accurately is, a sphere of influence. Okay, we have physical influence on the world, emotional influence, mental influence, financial influence, and social and moral influence on the world. But we start with the world having influence on us. We start out dependent, okay, and small. Then we become independent, bigger, and finally we become dependable. So the point isn't actually to become free. The point is to be able to be someone who is a liberator. But first, we have to become free in order to then be a liberator so that we can free the captives or the hostages. Okay? How does that happen? Pressure. Like we said, sadness, fear, and anger are all high pressure states. They're intoxicated. They're labile, contracted. The spring is all wound up. They say around the axle, wrapped around the axle. So we know evolution works by pressure. So you want to move from sadness, fear, and or anger to peace. That means going from dependent to independent, and then eventually it makes sense that you want to be dependable, also known as valuable, also known as attractive. Okay? Remember, we want to be physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, socially, and morally attractive or valuable as objects. Or so that we can be beheld. Right? We will be the beheld. And where is beauty or value? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, which is the subject. Right? So each person is both a subject and an object, and this course is about reconciling the one being observed and the one who's doing the observing. So that pressure is something that we're no longer fighting in life, but working with, and pressure is also known as God's will, or reality, or truth. And so we want to be scientific, successful, and spiritual. These are three human endeavors that usually don't get discussed together, but they certainly have a lot of overlap, and we're going to be, in this program, living at their intersection point. Okay, so hope you've enjoyed this program, and let's get it off the ground. Thank you.